All right, what's up, everybody? I'm waiting for a couple of people to come up, but they didn't make their way up. So I'll give them a chance to connect. I sent them an email, and I made sure that they got it. So I'm just a little bit surprised they didn't come up yet. But welcome everybody to this live stream, and we're going to talk about are the FBAs a hate group, because that seems to be something that's been floating around, ever since we decided to delineate. That's been a problem for so many. And so what we're going to try to do is try to break down some of the mythology surrounding the ideology of the FBA. Let's be clear. FBA means different things to different people. It doesn't mean the same thing to every foundational Black Americans. For me, foundational Black American just means that I'm a descendant of those who were enslaved in this country. Some people go as far as to say that FBA means that they're indigenous to this land. Now, I personally believe that there were Africans that were here prior to the slave trade, but I don't believe that Black people are indigenous to this country or to this landmass. So that's the difference that I have. So a lot of individuals have this perception or belief that to be an FBA, you have to believe that you're indigenous to America. I'm one of the people who don't believe it. What's up, Miss China Black? And JG, what's up? What's up? Glad to have you. Moses, glad. I'm going to give some time because I'm waiting for a couple of guests to show up, and they haven't shown up yet. So we're going to get into this. What I want to do, I want to talk about this video that I saw on YouTube. And it's this of this African woman giving her analysis of FBA and the problems that she sees with FBA. And certain things she says are okay, but there's a lot of scapegoating that I see what's going on. And so we definitely going to get into that. Like I said, I'm trying to wait for my guests to come up. And so we'll see. Now, let's see who else is in the building here. And for so many of you I haven't seen in so long or spoke to in a while, so I'm glad that you're here. And we're going to get in. And at some point we're going to put up the link, and you guys can come on up. And if you have something to say, I would love to hear from you. And so don't be shy. Cam up if you come up. Don't be shy. Cam up so we can get this in. So let's see. So I'm gonna stall for a minute. How many of you heard or seen what's going on in LA? Right? With the protests, the immigration protests. I'm gonna do a video one day on the immigration issue. It's a interesting issue. And so that, who knows, that might be my next video or my live I will do on that particular topic, because it's very interesting. What's up, Jay Daniels? So let's see. Like I said, where is my guest? Lord have mercy. So this is where you can't, certain things you plan for and it doesn't pan out. So what I'm going to do, let me just go ahead and let me get started, and hopefully they come up or show up soon. So let's see. Let me read some of these comments before I do that. There's probably some indigenous Black folks. Indigenous just means people who occupied a landmass before it was kind of. However, I do believe most FBA are descendants. Exactly, Yolanda. That's exactly what I believe. I'm not going to go as far as to say. And Jay Daniel said, who do you think built the pyramids in North America if, where did I miss that? Okay. If it wasn't Black people? Well, that's, like I said, that's, when you look at genetics, that becomes problematic. You got to first determine when these pyramids were built. at what point in time, and that's the problem. I don't think the science is there to actually do that. What's up, Minnesota? Listen, I'm going to call you because we could probably figure out something to do where I don't have to use as many of those flyers, and we could definitely put something together for sure. So I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna call you after, within probably tomorrow. I'll give you a call, and we'll figure out what we can do live. You can present your information, and we could do it for sure. We could definitely do it. You know. What's up, FBA Mello? What's up? What's up? Okay, so let's see who else in there. Okay, Brass is here. Okay, let's see. Where is Brass? Let's see. Okay, you gonna cam up, Brass?
Yeah, I can in 1 second. I just
okay.
Caught me off guard. I don't do the Sunday thing.
Okay. Well, like I said, this is one of my I actually just think my second live that I ever did. It's my second live that I ever did. It's crazy.
Yeah, all day. Hey, listen. You're gonna be dominant. You got good fans. First off, shout to you. Shout to everybody that supports the Brother True Savior. You know, I'm a big fan. I've been telling you since day one. I watch all these other guys in your peers. You know, the ones that talk about hip hop or they talk about FBA or certain conscious type topics. Your information has always been better than the peers. That's why you have such a strong following. The live would just accent it. You know what I mean? China Black, what up? Yeah. She's one of my favorite mods in the history.
Yeah.
Minnesota Money Boss, I see you. What's going on? So yeah, what's going on? I'm not the perfect person. Listen, you asked me to come to do this. I'm joining you because it's you.
Right.
I'm not the perfect. I'm not the perfect conversation. You skipped about 5 people in TMI in the Discord before you got to me. Chef, this is his time. Chef is.
Okay.
Chef
well,
is
you could tell Chef to come up and give his.
Yeah,
you
Chef,
know, I don't
this
have
is
Chef.
his thing.
I don't have Chef's email, so if I did or have his contact information, yeah, I would have definitely.
No problem. But go ahead and cook. I'm gonna get myself right so I can get on camera.
Okay. All right.
I'm listening to you though.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for his to actually show up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because that's how I saw it. I saw it in the Discord. I was waiting on the email. Then I went and looked, and for some reason it went to the spam folder. So I just went and grabbed it real quick.
Oh, okay. No problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get started.
Yeah, get started. I'll send it to Hits. I'll talk to Hits in the background.
Okay, no problem. So, like I said, I'm going to bring up this video where this African lady talks about FBA, and she speaking from an email that she received, and the email was designed to educate her, you know, on the FBA, and somewhat she kind of like takes a little offense to it. So let me bring that video up real quick. Let's see where we are. We're not African. Okay. So we're going to listen to it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stop it at some point and talk about it and give my impressions on what she's trying to say. Okay, let's go.
Today's episode is a direct response to an email I received after my last video about Black identity and why some Africans don't want to identify as Black. This email came from someone who identifies as a foundational Black American and who explained to me why they feel abandoned by other Black and immigrant communities and why they believe that FBA's divisiveness is justified. So today I want to break it down piece by piece why the victim mentality in FBA's rhetoric is dangerous and self-defeating, how FBA exceptional.
Now, right there, victim, she's calling us victims. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much. Let's go.
Ignores the contribution by Africans to the Black liberation struggle, how US imperialism destroyed African nations, setting back the entire Black world, and last but not least, the ridiculous claim that foundational Black Americans are indigenous to America and have no ties to Africa. I want to approach this topic with honesty, clarity, and facts, because conversations like these are so important. But we also need to unpack the problems with this mindset and how it contradicts historical and modern realities.
This is the premium Garmin Duffel 45 liter by Half Day. It's a transforming 2-in-1 travel duffel bag for long weekends.
It's a nice looking bag.
Okay, let's move it a little ahead.
Welcome to Plan B, Back to Africa. My name is Wayne. I want to read it for you. Wayne Tesfaye. Much of your perspective is correct. However, what you are missing is what exists at ground level. The divisiveness of the FBA labeling and description came about out of necessity in order to survive, exist. Black Americans for several decades strained, actually begging many times for unity with all ethnic groups of color, especially Africans from the motherland, because we have been on our own for hundreds of years, and because we know the value and the need for unity for our survival. That was the reason that FBAs fought, died in the struggle to change laws so other people of color could come, unite, and help. But all we, they, FBAs, faced from those who have come were constant and forever belittling insults, labels, and facial looks of disgust. Treating, speaking, looking down upon them, us, as though Black Americans are inferior. FBAs experienced this from all groups that have fled to America. All of these fleeing groups have said, let the Negro fight his own battles. We do not want to align with them. These groups that flee from their lands come and say to the FBA, we do not care about your fight or your history. We have not come to fight. We have only come to make money and take care of our own. In essence, we do not care about this country or anything in it except for what we can drain and take from it for our own purposes. The displaying of their various country flags show this. I have personally been told this to my face, even recently before President Donald Trump's mass deportations. This causes and has caused great immense pain and humiliation within our community. We have given so much that they may come, and they turn their noses up at us. As Black Americans, we have developed a collective instinctive reaction response. We become hardened, as we have learned through hundreds of years without any help from the outside world, and that we must do this for survival against all who hurt us. These microaggressions permeate from those who flee throughout this land, so we have labeled them as cowards that have fled, wanting the proximity to whiteness, in order to obtain preferential treatment and favor above FBAs, and they have gotten it. So let's break down this email.
Okay, so where's the lie? Everything that brother or sister wrote in that email was true. I think most foundational Black Americans or Black Americans, however you want to identify yourself, have experienced that, have heard that. I mean, I remember the movie New Jack City, where Wesley Snipes was trying to make a deal with a Nigerian drug dealer. The Nigerian drug dealer was saying, "No, we don't mess with the Akatas." There's this feeling amongst African people towards Black Americans. It's real. There's no sense in denying it. So let's continue.
Point by point. Let's start with point number 1. The divisiveness of FBA labeling came out of necessity for survival. First, let's acknowledge an undeniable fact. Black Americans have been fighting for their survival for centuries, often alone. The trauma of slavery, Jim Crow, police brutality, and mass incarceration have forced African Americans to develop self-reliance and resilience in a way that is unique. No one is dismissing that. But here's the issue. Divisiveness is not survival. It's a reaction to pain and betrayal, but it's not a strategy for long-term power. If unity didn't work before, it's not because Black people across the diaspora weren't trying. It's because white supremacy has always deliberately kept us apart.
So now that's where the lie is. Now she's trying to blame white supremacy for keeping most black people from unifying. There's a choice here. You can't blame white people for us not unifying. If we all claim to have the same enemy, there is no reason that we can't unify. You guys are making a choice to align yourself with white America because you think it's more advantageous for you to do so. So that's just a fact. So let's continue.
The FBA response, instead of healing that division, is deepening it by turning on the very people who should be allies. So I challenge you, instead of saying we had to be divisive for survival, ask yourself, who benefits from that division? Because it surely isn't black people. Let's get to the next point, number 2. FBAs fought and died so other people of color could come, unite, and help, but they never did. This statement assumes that black immigrants have contributed nothing to the black struggle in America, which is historically false. Caribbean immigrants, for instance, played a very important role in the civil rights movement.
Now, here we go. Now check out these names. We're going to debunk these names in a minute. Let's go.
Take Kwame Ture, for instance, who is from Trinidad and who has played an important role in the civil rights movement and the global Pan-African movement. Or Marcus Garvey.
Let me stop there. His real name is Stokely Carmichael. Now, he came to America when he was 11 years old. He socialized in America. Nothing Caribbean other than his ancestry that played no role in who he later became. He was socialized in America. He went through the same problems and the same issues that most Black Americans went through. That's how he became radical. He did not see any benefit to the nonviolent, tactics of a Martin Luther King. So he became more radicalized. But that had, again, and this is what these other non-FBA people do. They bring up people who have, their ancestry has nothing to do. It's about culture and it's about socialization. All right. Truly, Stokely Carmichael was not really socialized as a Caribbean. He was socialized as a Black American.
One of the most influential black leaders, and who happened to come from Jamaica. Or let's take Malcolm X, whose mother was from the Caribbean island Grenada. Let's not forget to talk about the powerful and important role.
See, now again, Malcolm X, mother from Grenada, father, foundational Black American. Again, Malcolm X is an American, Black American, born in America. But these are the tactics that they use to try to say, oh, we were always involved with Black American struggle. Let's go.
Of African leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of independent Ghana, who was one of the most vocal African leaders in supporting the civil rights movement and black liberation in the United States. Kwame Nkrumah personally invited Martin Luther King to Ghana's independence celebrations in 1957. This visit profoundly impacted Martin Luther King, reinforcing his belief that black people worldwide were part of a common struggle for freedom. Malcolm X was also welcomed in Ghana and met with Nkrumah, strengthening his Pan-African vision. Ghana.
All right, let's see. Let me go here. All right. What's up, Raz? Have you been listening to that?
Yeah, I'm listening to her. I think when we have these conversations, I hear people using. I'm trying to get this camera to work. I don't really use Restream, but one of my challenges when we have these FBA conversations is the generalization of like one size fits all. So it's like this person spoke to Martin Luther King, so that's how everybody's supposed to feel. You know what I mean? It's like he spoke to Martin Luther King. That's how Martin Luther King felt, and I think that's where we get into that unity conversation all the time. The unity conversation challenge for me is always like, we're trying to do something walk with me for 2 seconds. We were having a conversation the other day about how the struggle of African Americans, foundational Black Americans, is unique. And the uniqueness of it is this: we're the only group that was property. You know, so it's not like we are trying to fight just for our own humanity. We had to fight to be human. And then we had to have the, you know what I'm saying? Like, our fight is a little different. Take all of these races back, whatever ethnic group you want to go back to, none of them were property in the United States. So for us to be property, to then fight to you know, then they make the Constitution, we're not human, then to fight for our humanity, then to fight for some form of civil rights. Like, this is all still new. That's the 60s. It's only 60 years ago. So you know, I think we got to be a little careful, especially her, with her generalization, because they throw. I mean, how you feel about that? What you think about that?
Well, like I said, she's trying to pick one or two people in history and try to say, well, what our experience is not really valid because, hey, I can show you this particular person. But we all know, I'm sure most Black Americans have felt that from other immigrants that come here. It's like they don't want anything to do with us. They even say they rather, align with white people because they see that as more of a way to attain more success than to deal with Black Americans. And so she needs to be honest about that. This is a real thing, but this is how they're trying to gaslight us into saying that we're overreacting, we're being divisive and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what I hear coming from her. She's trying to gaslight us.
Okay.
So yeah. So let's see what else. Let me see more. Let's see what she's talking about. Let me try to get that up there. Okay. I'm trying to make this bigger here. Let's see.
Click on the see if you can click the full screen on the video. Maybe
I did, and then it's not. Let me see. I'm not doing
I don't use Restream. I can help you.
Right. Let's do it. Let me do it this way. Yeah. Is it bigger now or no? Same thing?
No, same thing for what I see.
Same thing. Okay. But it was bigger before, right?
No.
It wasn't.
No, that's what it was. This is what I was watching. At least
okay. All right, then fine. Let's do it. Here we go.
Continues to be a safe haven for African Americans. W.E.B. Du Bois moved to Ghana and was given Ghanaian citizenship, where he worked on the Encyclopedia Africana until his death in 1963. And then let's not forget to talk about the support by Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie I. He was deeply respected by African American leaders, including Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and members of the Nation of Islam. Ethiopia used its position in the United Nations to push against apartheid in South Africa and racial discrimination in the US. He was a key force in the formation of the Organization of African Unity, which worked to connect African struggles with Black liberation struggles worldwide. Historically, African Americans and Africans on the continent have always supported each other in their liberation struggle. When Italy invaded Ethiopia during the Second World War, so many African Americans signed up to volunteer to fight on the side of the Ethiopians against the invading colonial Italian army. However, eventually they were blocked from the US government. They were ready to die and fight for Ethiopia. Imagine that. However, one brother made it, Colonel John Robinson, the Brown Condor of Harlem. You should definitely research his mind-blowing, inspiring history. He was one of the very few African-American Black aviators of his time, and he showed solidarity with Ethiopia by volunteering as a fighter pilot and military advisor during Italy's invasion of Ethiopia in 1935, defying racial barriers and US neutrality policies. He helped train Ethiopian pilots, fought against Mussolini's forces, and symbolized African-American support for anti-colonial struggles in Africa. Not just historically, African people continue to support the Black liberation struggle in the USA and are actively involved in racial justice movements. Many activists that fight against racism and oppression in America are of Caribbean and African descent. In cities like Minneapolis, where George Floyd was murdered, Ethiopian and Somali communities were on the front lines of the protests. And even
all right, like I said, she's going on
pandering a little bit.
Yeah. She's pandering.
She's doing a little bit of pandering right now. It's a little uncomfortable.
Right. And so basically, all she's doing is giving this sense that we're. Shefford here. Let me add him too. What's up, brother? First of all, let me do this. Hold up. Let me see. One second. Okay, Chef, you up, right?
Yeah. Y'all can.
Yeah. What's up? How you doing?
What's going on? I just joined. I'm trying to catch up. What y'all got going on?
Yeah, we're just talking about. I'm featuring this female from Africa who's giving her opinion about FBA and how she thinks that we're misguided and divisive, and we're preaching a victim mentality and all of that. And she's trying to also say that Africans and Caribbean has always been a part of our struggles in America. But I think we as Americans, especially Black Americans, we already know, or we have come into contact with African and Caribbean people who feel a certain way about us and think that our fight is not necessarily their fight, So have you experienced that from Caribbeans and Africans? Because I don't want to say, I know I have, so I don't want to speak for all Black Americans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's crazy. I have, and historically is twofold, right? Historically, we have been seen as a collective, right? So I think that's one aspect of it. But then, like far-wise, certain issues, they do show a departure from us. You dig what I'm saying? Whereas we tried over and over to be completely inclusive to them. And they'll show that, they can have some pushback when it comes to us for certain issues. And I think now we're starting to really acknowledge, it. And I think that's becoming a problem, that we're acknowledging that, we didn't try to have complete solidarity with y'all. You dig what I'm saying? We tried. I know we had. You feel me? And we ignored all y'all slights, right? We ignored it. For decades, we ignored Caribbean and other Black people slights towards us. You dig what I'm saying? And their ability to disassociate themselves from us at times. You dig what I'm saying? It's like and it's almost like, to be honest, I have to acknowledge that they do have a right to proclaim their heritage and their national pride, right? And I think a lot of times when they acknowledge that they are not exactly like us, you dig what I'm saying? That, I am a proud Nigerian or Ethiopian. Like, I do have a culture devoid from what you African Americans see as just Black. Like, it's a little bit more to me than what y'all are, you know what I mean? We kind of took that as a thing where, well, you trying to say you ain't like it? No, they not exactly like us, right? That's the same way if you say, well, my culture in Jersey or New York is not the same as your culture in Atlanta. You dig what I'm saying? Or in Florida, right? We all acknowledge that we all black, but we have different nuances about ourselves. Now, those nuances become bigger once you cross national, you know what I mean, lines, right? But yeah, they have, you know, now that we're acknowledging that, yeah, y'all do got a little funky. Y'all got a little funky twinge when it comes to us. You dig what I'm saying? And we have it towards them also.
Right, that's true. That's true.
So it's a family dispute. Let's just be honest. It's a family dispute, right? The same way they can claim that they're Jamaican American, right, and show their uniqueness. FBA is doing the same thing now.
But they seem like they have a problem when we do it. That's
we had a problem when they did it.
Well, you know what? They did it. They did it in a way to show. And this is my impression. When they do it to kind of disrespect us and diminish us. Where it's nothing wrong with being proud of who you are, but you don't say stuff like, well, you don't have a culture, you know, stuff like that. You don't say stuff like that, you know. So, but that's the kind of stuff that they would say, is that you don't have a culture. And so when you say that, what are you saying? You're saying it to demean somebody, right? That's how I look at it. Black Americans have never did that in that regard. Yeah, I remember people would say like in the 70s and stuff, like African booty scratch and all that.
African booty scratch.
But those were kids. You know what I'm saying? Kids were saying that kind of stuff. But as adults weren't doing that. This is my experience. I didn't hear adults attacking Caribbean or African people like that, or saying they don't have a culture or their culture is whack or whatever like that. But to this woman's credit, and I'm not going to play the whole video, but she did say that African people or Caribbean people are wrong to say that Black Americans don't have a culture, as if their culture is pure. They've been influenced by European culture as well. You know, they've been influenced by a lot of things. Their culture is not totally indigenous or original. You know, so to her credit, she said that. So she was saying that Africans and Caribbean people shouldn't say that African Americans don't have any culture. Especially Caribbean people shouldn't say that, because what makes them different than us?
Exactly.
You know, what makes them different? And what's crazy is that Africans see Caribbean people like they see themselves. Isn't that crazy? And they're divorced from the homeland just like us, but somehow they have a problem.
It's American hatred. It's American hatred, right? So we incur the negative stereotypes that the rest of the world have on America, right? So by the fact that we are American, right, they kind of look at us as being privileged. Like we ain't go through bullshit here, like they went through bullshit and they had colonized, you know what I mean, enslaved a country that they came. You dig what I'm saying? They kind of look at us like Americans so great, y'all got it good over there, y'all got all this, you know what I mean? So it's almost how we look at white America, like you have no reason to complain. I heard Black people say that, like, I'll never give a pass to a white person that's poor. You dig what I'm saying? Because they're white. You dig what I'm saying? I think they kind of look at Black Americans the same way. Like, I'll never look at you like you have been completely oppressed because you live in the greatest, richest country in present. Like, you had more opportunity. Your poor ain't our poor, nigga. You feel me? It's that type thing. You know what I mean? The same way we look at white America, right? We get that from them. We got to work that shit out, though. You dig what I'm saying?
But in the same token, though, what up, Chef?
What's up,
in the same token, and this is where I always get clipped on my own shows. It's kind of why I'm moving away from the content, because y'all, I mean, I guess the name, whatever name y'all want to come up with them, I just wish, like this lady who's making this video, I just wish she would do a separate video on the 50 warring countries in Africa and what's going on there. And when Jamaicans, and it sound like me and Chef, I go back and forth with Chef all the time, where I try to make sure I don't feel racist when I'm saying it, but it's like for everything that a Jamaican or a Haitian or Trinidadian or some anything that falls under the ilk is saying that Black Americans aren't doing, or why haven't we done this, or why can't we do this? My question would always be, if I pulled up your country right now and just looked at the tourist at the tourist advisory, or looked at where you fall in the list of countries in the world, take all that energy that you have for Black Americans and put it into your home country, and maybe y'all will be. It's hilarious when I hear Trinidadians and Jamaicans and African or Puerto Rican, Cubans specifically that come in and say, well, you African Americans, y'all have got all this and this and this, and then I just I just go straight to the travel advisory. The other day, a person from Jamaica was telling me, or Haiti was telling me, oh, we got all these opportunities. We had a council meeting, and I pulled it up on my phone. I said, just so you know, I don't know if you want to call somebody back home, but y'all was just put on a list for us never to go there, and that y'all can't come here. So it must be something going on there that you should work on, that you should fix. And that's where, and it's like, you don't want to be rude about it, but you also want to be factual. Like, I don't agree with all of the, my race is this, your race is that. I don't like to get into those kinds of conversations, but it's just like, she took a lot of time to make this 18-minute video. But
it's longer than that.
50, all 50 countries in Africa are in some form of war. You should focus your energy where you are. And that's what I mean by, how you always say you don't understand why they are attacking you, or why they're bringing up FBA. To me, it's almost like they're distracting themselves from their own issues. You know what I mean? It's like you putting a blinder to the own things that's going on in your own country to somehow say what y'all need to be doing, where I could just pull up what you need to do. I know it sounds crazy. I feel bad when I say it, but it's like sometimes I'm starting to pick and choose and be a little bit more selective of the conversations that I'm having. And when I'm having it, I notice, because then I understand. The other day I had a conversation, I understand the tether stuff. Because then they start throwing out the slights. You got a white wife. You do this. You know what I'm saying, Chef? See, and so then it's like, oh, okay, you're just trying to be divisive, and that's why I understand where you're coming from, Truth. When they're just trying to be, they act like they are so concerned, or that they would help. I used to work at the UN. You know how many times I got a call the kata before I knew what it meant? And it wasn't the Europeans that was acting crazy. It wasn't the people from South Central America. It wasn't the people from China, the Asian. It wasn't them. It was the Africans. Would be like, nah. They looked at me like, go get my whatever they drink. So my thing is, there is a certain thing of divisiveness there. But before you tell me to unify with you, before we have any, and this is because I'm famous for saying there is no we. Before we do all of this, I want you to take care of your backyard before you start telling me what's going on in the United States and all of those kinds of things, because then you go into the divisiveness, and I see it's right underneath the surface when you talk to them. The ones that I've come encounter with, I don't want to blanket statement the whole group. Right. No brass doesn't have a white wife. See, you're already starting.
What's up, Logic?
DL or DL. DL says the idea of our proximity to whiteness leading to more opportunity is the African and Caribbean worship of whiteness leaking out. That is an amazing comment right there.
Say that again. What did he say?
He said the idea of our proximity to whiteness leading to more opportunity is the African and Caribbean worship of whiteness leaking out, because they believe that we supposed to be doing good because we live next to white America.
Right.
They believe that is an amazing assessment, brother or sister. Whoever you is, you spot on. Thank you. Woo.
I hate when we do that.
What's going on, Lodge?
Hey, Logic. My wife
What's
just said the only thing white on her is her palm, and she's glad she ain't on live. Just slapped the hell out of some of these people. They was talking. I can't stand these people. Go ahead, Logic. I apologize. I cut you.
What's up, Logic? Go ahead.
What's up, Truth? What's up? Give me a second. I'm trying to get my stuff right here.
Okay. Let me see. I will go read some of these comments.
Trying to identify the trolls you got in the chat. I think Benjamin Gunn is a troll.
Oh,
yeah. I think that's.
Well, I really wasn't watching the chat too much until Chef.
No, they've been cooking. Jay Daniels been making a lot of good comments. DL been making a lot of good comments. FBA Mello, I don't know if he's affiliated with FBA or not, but FBA Mello, he's definitely on fire. My whole thing is I just don't want to do. I think the challenge we face though, Truth, is when they generalize Black Americans and we generalize them, we're both wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a blanket statement to say all.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And I think, and we end up saying, we used to do the shows and stuff. Logic's that's Logic's department now. He took it over, and you see tether. They're not all. You can't say that's just absolutes don't exist anywhere. So you got to be careful. But it is the divisiveness is so strong that even if it's coming from a minority, it's so strong that it feels like it's a majority. You know what I mean? Like the danger of it. We can't accept any divisiveness coming from another group at all. Mm-hmm. None.
Mm-hmm. I agree. What hits? I see you in the chat. I sent you a link so you can come up, man.
Hits don't talk FBA, bro. I'm just.
Oh, you got that guy. Oh, okay, all right.
I told you, I don't talk FBA. I'm doing this because of you. You got the two perfect Chef and Logic. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. I'm just doing this as support of you, bro.
Well, I appreciate that. Logic, you said you trying to get something taken care of first. Before you have something to say.
Yeah, he's trying to get his.
He's trying to get.
He got it. No, he had to wash the tether off his hands, and then he's gonna come in here and start.
Did you guys see that? The latest Grandmaster Cass interview in relationship.
What did he do?
Well, pretty much doubled down on the fact that, and for us hip hop and who was there, he pretty much doubled down. Basically said that, it was a few, but it was basically a Black thing, so who's upset with that. So okay, but I think he posted that about 2 or 3 days ago, so
yeah, I think that conversation, and that's what I mean by I understood. Me and Chef was talking about this. We talk about this in the Discord off and on, given the week. And the scary part for me is this always. I understand why you blanket the tether the tether name. Like you'll just not you, but like someone using it. You'll just blanketly just say everybody, all foreigners, all tethers, all this, that, and the other, all people that aren't FBA, right? And here's why. Because as you can even see in the hip hop conversation, it doesn't take a whole lot of people to say that it's something other than Black or other than FBA that started hip hop for it to actually be an issue globally. You know what I mean? Like to get the conversation started. It's not like you need if you look at these channels that talk about the beginnings of hip hop, the majority of y'all are saying all the same thing. It's like 5, 6 channels saying that it's the other way. It's multicultural. It's started by Hispanics. It's only a few. But just that device, see what I mean? That just, it doesn't, a few people yelling it in the right areas at the right time, it causes like a global problem, a global conversation where there really isn't a conversation. So I understand when you got to stamp it out sometimes. So sometimes you got to, you know, be a little bit more crazy with it.
Yeah, because if you don't stamp it out, it's going to grow. You know, you tell a lie too long, it's going to catch. It's going to catch. You're going to catch something. You know, it's going to keep growing. So you got to stamp it out where you see it. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that.
You know, so that's why. What's up, Melanie the Warrior? See you in the building.
What's up, y'all? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. What's up? Go ahead, Roger. Give your. Well,
did
you happen to watch her? You happen to watch the lady that featured on this video?
Nah, I've never seen that video before.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I missed that part of it. My bad.
Okay.
I was commenting on I think Chef had read a comment from the chat, and the guy was like something about that's worshiping whiteness or worshiping whatever he was referring to as worshiping. And I think that like it's concepts like that that really prevent the modern concept of like blackology from being viable. Like it's really unusable, because if your ultimate goal is to completely free yourself from Western influence or from white people influence, like you'd have to be completely free of the American dollar. Right, like you'd have to be completely out from the American government jurisdiction. Completely,
Logic,
right? And
Logic. But that your critique should. All right, the person made the comment was analyzing foreign blacks who believe that Black Americans are not taking advantage of their opportunity from being in America, meaning we're fucking up. You dig what I'm saying? Like that's what he was saying. It wasn't a black person in America believing something about white people. He was saying that Africans and Caribbean blacks believe that black people, you know what I mean, should have it good or got it good because we live so close to white people. You dig what I'm saying? That's what the comment was about.
And I guess it's more like he is shaming us for living on the mainland America. Is that what it boils down to? What is that? So what does that mean to you?
He was making an assessment that that's how they feel. You ever heard a person say? You ever heard a foreigner say that black people, you know, we don't know what it is to struggle, or we have all the opportunity in the world, meaning y'all communities look like this because it's y'all fault, all that type of stuff. You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he's critiquing that. You know what I mean? That sentiment that we supposed to be doing good because we live next to white people.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? Like they didn't have those opportunities to live next to these rich white people. Nigga, y'all live in America. Y'all should be doing good. We come over here and do good. What's y'all problem? That type of sentiment.
And what they never realize is I sit on these councils with these grants, Chef, I tell you all the time, if you could go down to your local clerk, just go down to your local city hall and look at the things that are in place for Black Americans that are here versus people coming from other countries, monies to start businesses, monies to go to school, monies to buy houses, monies to do anything, it's like 100 to 1. So when you take those kinds of opportunities, and then too, remember, we came here as property. You came here because you passed a screening process. So you're probably the best of whatever is coming from your country. And if your country is so great, if your country is so amazing, then what's wrong with it? What's wrong with what's going on? Look at what's going on in Haiti right now. Look at what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago right now. Look what's going on in the Bahamas. What's going on in Jamaica? Look at what the war that's going on, the amount of wars, the amount of tribal feuding going on in Africa right now. And you focus why are they so concerned? Why do you want to get so close to Black Americans? What is that's where I see that it must be something unnecessary, something divisive. It can't be anything constructive. It has to be something where you're trying to tear something down, and that's where I stay at with it. So I don't like talking about it.
Mm.
And I think the whole thing is honestly like, man, I think at the very bottom of that, you really realize that the African probably needs the African American more than the African American needs the African. Because the African really can't, he really can't just show up and and voice any of his politics on American soil. Like that's not even for real. You know what I'm saying? Like
Anything that
so
anybody want to listen to.
yeah, I mean, so building that up is just, I'm not really sure what the purpose of that is. If you go over to Africa and something crazy happens, the embassy they're gonna look at you as an American. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't really see
Yeah.
what's the like I feel like we already have a military at the end of that. And then if you're staying here in America, well then you're gonna some kind of way need to incorporate American politics to some degree to accomplish whatever it is that you want to, or protect it.
Well, check this out. This is what I want to ask. I don't know who made that comment that Chef was referring to, but clearly he doesn't know about all the towns that were destroyed when Black people were trying to do good and be creative and be successful in this country, despite all the odds. So the truth of the matter is, and this is something that they have to recognize, this country don't want Black Americans to succeed. They've always been in the way. Now, does that mean that that's an excuse? No, but it is a fact. It's a truth that we have to recognize and act as if we weren't doing anything. We were just sitting on our hands and we just want to be poor. But see, a lot of these immigrants don't know our history. And this is why they make these certain claims. This is why they have these certain beliefs that we're just lazy. We're not trying to do anything. But if they were to study the history, they would understand that there were many communities, Black people, successful communities before integration that were destroyed because white supremacy can't allow white people to see Black people doing better than them. That's the sin of white supremacy because it affects them more than it affects them just as bad as it affects us because they can't envision a Black person doing better than them. So they destroy their towns. So that's just a fact. So that's why history is so important. And it's a shame that this particular administration is trying to destroy Black American history. And because it's so important to be able to fully tell our story and in its right context. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I feel. So any comments regarding that? Anybody
Um,
to that?
I, our story. I'm not really like. I think there's an emphasis there that's like it becomes detrimental after a minute. Right? I think our story actually is beautiful and worth preserving, but I don't think that it's necessarily like uh, this this key to moving forward that is kind of portrayed, you know what I'm saying, in internet circles kind of thing. And I really think that it's gotta be where it is. Like I don't hear people in real life talking about it, we gotta know ourselves so we can figure out what to do tomorrow. Like I feel like that makes sense on some kind of like spiritual level at the end of the day. Like our history isn't um it isn't the only thing that's got the lessons in it that we need to move forward, right? Like you can learn from other people's history too, right? So like, if rebuilding our history's got to be more about us controlling our own image, right? But it doesn't have anything to do with us gaining leverage in politics in America. Like those two things got to really be separated from each other because they're like one of them almost suggests that there's some magical thing to our history, right? Like that it's intertwined with our future in that particular way. And I'm saying that no, we need to preserve it as our like as our self-image of us. You know what I'm saying? We can remember like what we done went through, but we absolutely got to be more focused on like our local environment to help us move forward in today. And that's not so
Could
specific
you
to our
understand? Could
history.
you understand your local environment and your present circumstance without understanding your history? Yeah, logic. I just don't even understand why you constantly try to
You hate that
separate us.
argument. I know you do.
Hey, just
You,
real quick, truth.
Yeah.
There's always a turning point in the shows. I just want to let you know. I'm just gonna say this. Listen, I hate them. I'm not trying to be the police.
All
There's
right.
a
Okay.
turning point in all of these shows. This show is about to turn. I'm just gonna let you
Oh,
know.
okay.
So,
All right.
Chef, go ahead with the wrench and just turn the show
no,
to where
I'm
it
not
needs
going
to
to do it.
go.
I'm not going to do it. He made his
Because
point.
Nah, you
He
gotta
made his
do it,
point.
yo.
no,
You gotta do it because
you gotta know,
you
Chef,
know
you cannot. He's talking
I'm actually
almost
making a
directly to
fair
you,
point.
so you have to respond. See,
Yeah,
that's the
I'm
turn.
making a
You ain't
fair
doing
point,
nothing
right?
wrong, Chef. You have to respond. Chef
Just
Logic cannot say that.
don't say I said throw it away. Because I've
No,
never said throw it away.
no, but you act like it's not useful.
Right.
That's the problem, and that
Right.
you cannot
Useful in what way? Like
to
what are you
understand
talking
your
about? I'm using it as.
right. Any community, right? In order for them to know where they're going and why they're where they at right now, they have to know something about their history.
That's right. That's right.
I'm trying to figure out why you think that we could just start from right now and
I
move
agree.
forward
We
without
need to know
knowing.
something about our history.
Yeah, yes. What community?
Okay.
What community moves forward, right, without knowing their history? If you name the one that do it, then you got me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll say,
So
yo, you
so
absolutely
chef.
right.
So
Go ahead.
chef.
All I need is one example. If
No,
you give me one,
I'm about to ask
it's
you.
over.
I'm about to ask you the question.
Because I don't even think you know no other
What
community that you
what
can
part
even
about
compare to the
African
story.
American history? Hold up. What part of African American history don't we know? I'm gonna ask you. It's
That
not a
wasn't
trick
even the
question.
question. Listen, I
It's
said
not a trick.
name me the community that moves forward without their history, and you got me. So take it away from
No,
if
I'm
this
not trying to
thing can
get
be
you.
done.
I'm asking you the question of like what don't we know? Like where is it like hidden and we can't go find it?
What I didn't say anything was hidden.
Logic. Can I ask you a quick question?
I mean, so
What?
we got it, right? So the history is actually
You
there
don't
for
got
us
it.
to.
You don't
So,
got it.
no, I don't. I personally do not have it, but the history is there for
Yeah.
it to be like uncovered, right? So,
All
and
right.
if that were this magical key of our next
It's
move,
part of it.
then we
It's
would have
part
made
of it.
that next move already, right?
Well, well, again, like I said
The
before,
next move would be obvious. It'd be painfully obvious because we have all the keys. We got the history. That's the one thing that you said we needed, right?
Do it
well,
without the history. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead, True.
well,
Nah, I'm not saying to do it without the history. See, there you go saying that I said it was useless again. But I know that's your argument. But
well, you're saying it's not as
it,
important. You're saying
yeah.
knowing the history.
Let's not make it I think it's like a step one type of thing. You
Well,
know
you
what
know
I'm
what?
saying?
I would challenge
It's
you.
certainly not a plan of any kind.
Logic. I would challenge you just in the same way Chef asked you. Name a group of people that would say that their history is not that important to their success. That is crucial because I can't imagine a Jewish person saying, "Well, the Holocaust
I'll do
was."
you one better, and
No,
I'll
no,
say that. Look. a perfect example of that is most people that you have these conversations with, Savior, they can't get off of, we need to have this big unification thing, right? Like, so they can't get off of their own square one. You get what I'm saying? So
Well,
it's
I don't.
there's another key example of like is of having all of this history and being able to relate to each other historically, and these internet scholars or you know what I'm saying, they need more than just history to be able to have any sort of sway on anything local, social, national, federal, like you name it. Like it, that's not what gives them any sort of leverage in the courtroom.
Well, listen. Let me give my brother Malik Bey an opportunity to speak. What's up, brother?
Islam, brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You know, a lot of our people, you know, it's an old saying, some of our skin folks and our kin folks. Anybody you know on this planet, they respect their culture because they know how far their people come. You know, there's some of us just don't like it, just don't like ourselves. You can't help that, you know. But I tell you what, that's the same type brother or sister that will allow other people to come and take away things from us that our people created, invented. So they don't have pride in themselves. But here's the catch. Here in North America, our people are giants. Nobody had more inventions than us. Nobody have created, all the music genres belong to us here in North America. The reason why I keep saying North America, because America is not just North America. I want you people to know that. But here in North America, these people are in our backyard. If this was a so-called white man land, how is it that all our music genres belong to us? How is all the dances come from us and all the inventions? We have over 50,000 patents of inventions and whatnot, you know? So how is it that, you know, we in a so-called white man land, we came off slave boats, you know? Everybody don't buy into that because some of us are indigenous here. I don't buy into none of that because simple fact is, if you go back and you read, you know what I'm saying, or you text, you know what I'm saying, the movie Roots, what happened to Alex Haley, you know what I'm saying? He was sued for that he plagiarized that document from, I believe, an Irish woman and whatnot. And he was sued for $500,000. That's the first time I ever heard of slavery, you know. But what I'm saying is this: you gotta love your people, you gotta love yourself. Who said what?
So you said the first time you ever heard of slavery was from Alex Haley?
From the movie Roots, because when it came out, I went to my grandmother and I asked my grandma, I said, Grandma, we were slaves? She said, no, where you get that from? She said, my family is from Georgia. There was Muskogee, so-called Creek Indians. And my great-grandmother was from Alabama. She was Choctaw. So that's why we never heard that slavery stuff.
Oh, well,
all right.
Well,
so when you
what
go
about
into
the
the records,
so that's your particular family. What about all of the rest of the black people that was around you? So I agree that your family probably lived in America, and for some, a whole war was fought over slavery, but somehow your family never heard of slavery. But all of the rest of the black people around them heard of slavery, but your particular family, somehow it mixed
not in
up.
that. No, we heard of slavery, but let me say something to you. Have you ever looked into those books in the 1800s? It said indentured servitude. It didn't mention slavery. Do you know that?
No, I don't know that.
Have you done your family genealogy? If you have not done your family genealogy,
show you every book that said slavery.
Okay, brother, have you done your personal family genealogy in the 1800s? That's what I'm talking about. Have you done that yet?
No, my family accepted we was slaves
that
in South Carolina. Hold on. My family acknowledged that we are the descendants of slaves from South Carolina. Like your family might be different. Your family was Native American.
No. Let me ask you a question.
Hold on.
Let me ask you a question. Who enslaved us?
Listen, I'm telling you.
Oh, you one of those two. You want me to answer you? But
no,
okay. Check this out.
I'm making a
We're getting off a little off topic.
My family was slaves.
Yeah, we getting off topic.
Get off a little bit topic.
Okay, then that's what you are, a slave. Yeah. That's all. Well, forget you.
Let me go back into what we were talking about as far as the FBA And let me play. I want to play this clip from Mr. Freeze, Frosted Freeze. And I want to let you hear what he says. And this is what I have a problem with certain individuals gaslighting FBAs in terms of what we create and who we are as a people, and try to diminish us by us being proud of who we are. Let me see if I could find that real quick. Let's see. Let me go here. Over here first. Just 1 second, gents. Let me go here first. Let's see. Okay, let me go back. 1 second. Sorry. Just 1 second, gents. Let's go here. Mr. Freeze. Okay, I want y'all to listen to this particular excerpt this is from Cologne's channel, but listen to what he says.
I've always seen this dance one way: top rock, floor rocking, freezes. That's the only way I've ever seen this dance. And in fact, Wade Lewis, Shaka Zulu King Wade Lewis, he was asked on an recent interview, about breaking being an up top dance at first. He said it was never an up top.
For those of you who don't know who Mr. Freeze is, or Frosty Freeze, he's a white b-boy back in the late 70s, early 80s. I'm not sure if he started in the late 70s, but definitely in the 80s. And of course, this is Cologne trying to convince him that the original b-boys aren't really b-boys. And so just to give you a little context, but I want you to really pay attention to what Mr. Freeze says in reference to why is it a racial thing?
My name is Debbie.
Okay,
my dad's name is Obi. He tells me about the time when I was very young. He told me.
What happened? Did I lose it? Okay, I must have lost it. Let me go back. All right. Let me go out. And then I lost it. Let me hold up. Let me stop it. All right. Let me go out of here and let me find it again. All right. All right. Anybody you can speak? Well, I'm gonna try to find this video because somehow I lost it. Don't know how I lost it. But go ahead, Malik.
Brother True. What I'm getting out of this is this, right? They can't show the history before the rock dance. They can't show, you know what I'm saying, after the breaking on floor rock, and they can't show what else they created. So they have a history that's in a vacuum when you think about it. We have this history to show how this thing evolved. You notice they keep talking about the rock dance, but the elders are coming out more and more and saying that we listen to Motown. As a matter of fact, King Uprock from Brooklyn did an interview with Inc. 76, and he said, you know, he mentioned the rock dance to him. He said, hold up, before it was called the rock dance, it was called the funk dance. What it is it seems like nobody want to give themselves credit, but you know what? We don't need credit from people because nothing's going to change. It's already documented. You know what I'm saying? That it's evolved out of our culture. And you notice they all keep saying it's not Puerto Rican culture. As far as I'm concerned, this is a dead deal right there. You admitting that it's not Puerto Rican culture, but we are admitting that this evolved out of our culture, and we can show the evolution, how this thing came about. They can't show that. Only thing they got is a bunch of words. And let me say something to you. Words without documents is void ab initio. I land my plane.
Well, basically I'm going to try to find a video. But anyway, what he was basically saying, Mr. Freeze, let me give you context as I remember what he's saying. This is what happens when Black people like claim the things that we did. The first thing they want to say is, why you guys making it about race? Right? You hear that all the time. Like if we talk about certain inventions or certain artistic things that we've done, and we laud it, we're proud of it, and we talk about it, and somehow they take that as us being acting as Black supremacists. And so this is what FBAs are also being called, Black supremacists, because we talk about the things that we've done, the great things that we've done. And other groups, I really feel, are just a little bit intimidated by that. And so they fight back or they push back by saying that we're black supremacists or we're doing the white man's work. How many of you guys, any of you, have you ever felt that from people when you speak about the greatness of your people? Have you felt that? Any of you?
Yeah, but I've only feel like that when I come around other black people, though.
You would say that. No, but look, so you never feel that way, or you never saw that happening.
Black people, the only people make me feel bad for trying to push politics and try to make some in my opinion, intelligent suggestions on how to get some better standings on here in America. And I feel like they fight me and cuss me out, right? And tell me that nigga, we trying to go back to Liberia and shit. Nigga. We
Who's
making
trying
a
to go
boat
back?
over here and you can't get on it. Nigga, that's the kind of shit I hear.
Well, I don't know who you be listening to. I don't know who the heck you be listening to, because that's not what I'm speaking about at all. No,
Yep.
that's not what I'm speaking about at all. But anybody else got anything they want to say? Anybody else? No comments on that at all. No one ever felt that you can't speak about the greatness of your people without feeling like somebody is attacking you for that. No comment.
I don't know. I feel like I actually come to these online circles, right, and try to, convince people that we should be looking a little bit more towards people like Thurgood Marshall and them, right? Like some of these political leaders and these people who are able to do things just outside the, like, on the ground level, or like they require the participation of other people with the boots on the ground to get their stuff done. But we still need those people. And you know what I'm saying? It's almost like it seems like we want to try to find a solution without those people, because those people need to get too close to white people to get their stuff done. So we'd rather be like stagnated and not do anything, because doing something looks like it requires getting a little closer to the to the white. I don't want to say it. I ain't supposed to be saying it like that.
Well, like I said, I'm not sure that. Like I said,
I mean, am I tripping? If somebody else come off the mic and say that I got the ideology wrong, because I listen to it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Brother,
True
safe,
I hear you.
Can you hear me? Say something. I get what brother Logic. That's his title, Logic.
What's up, bro?
I get where you coming from. I get where you coming from, brother Logic. But let me say something to you. Our people have went through so much. Whether people believe in the slave trade or not, that's their thing. You know what I mean? But I'm going back to the time when our land being taken, we was being hung on trees, Jim Crow laws, redlining, and we're still here. And look, we are the most imitated people on the planet Earth, from a people that have been beat down and still going through stuff. Ain't nothing changed, But what I'm saying is, look at us as a great people. The world, black people all over the world look at us as an inspiration. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying to you is this, love your people, love yourself, because nobody's guaranteed to be here tomorrow. You see how a lot of people disappearing. But what I'm saying is, it should be a great alarm that you got people attacking our culture all the time. But remember, you don't attack the weak, you always attack the strong. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, brother.
So you spoke about something that I think is really, really important, that we need more of in the black community for sure, right? Is instilling a little bit more of that, like, self-confidence, that self-esteem, in our people. That self-love, as you called it.
I think we got that.
I think that's all the same thing. But no, but I'm saying you could always use more of that, right? There's nothing wrong with saying, to take serious looks at, what are some effective ways at building self-esteem or self-love? Why can't we have conversations about stuff like that? Brother, regarding that, like, what are your suggestions of, like, some number one way that you can instill self-love in the black community?
Brother, I'm gonna say it to you like this: read your history and see how far your people come, and you'll start loving your people more and more. You'll say, "Wow, man, we still standing strong." That's love. That's internal love. We are spiritual people, man. We can't be broken. I'm gonna say it to you like this: the more I study my history, my people history, and see brothers like True Savior coming on here, and brother hip hop historian, and sisters like China Black and them, and other brothers and sisters on here defending our culture, because we got a bunch of culture vultures out here who don't want to give us credit. They prefer to give it to other people than give it to us. We don't know if they pay agents, but look at our people on TikTok, all the dancing, all that stuff coming from us. If you don't see that, that's our future. Like, yo, we keep it pushing, we keep it moving. Ain't nobody like us on the planet Earth. This is why everybody love us when we go overseas. And it's not nothing towards our other brothers and sisters from the Caribbean on it, because that reggae music is crazy all over the world too. They love us, man. But what I'm saying is, if you don't defend your culture, man, do you have any children, brother? Logic?
I don't.
Okay, when you get children, you will start seeing things a lot different. You know that, right?
Probably.
So
The question was like, what's the suggestion on the self-love, right? How, like, if you had a serious conversation about suggesting how we can instill some more self-love in the community, your number one suggestion was history, right?
Yeah, study your history and your past. Study your past. Study your
Would it surprise you to know that there are other ways and potentially more effective ways to be instilling self-love other than history?
Look at the battle down people come from. Listen, let me ask you a question. Love is
give us a few, Logic. Give us a few.
Yeah, give us a lot. Yeah, give me what
the number one is goal setting. They say
that's broad. That's very broad. Be more specific.
Short term.
Goal setting is very broad.
Short and long term goals, right? They say setting short and long term goals and achieving those things is a surefire way to develop self-worth, right? Of watching yourself, prove to yourself you have the discipline to make these accomplishments.
Individually,
to watch
yes.
Okay, so are you suggesting that I make these sacrifices? No, I mean, no. Hold on. You just said, hold on. I think you're about to get right on the cusp of the other real issue that I feel like needs to be said. Nobody really wants to say it, right? So you can sit here and justify. Oh yeah, I'm a tether.
Okay,
I sure am, bro.
Hold on. Let me play this video that I found this video. Let me play this video because I really want to play this really quick. Just give me 1 second. Let me find it. And again, just listen to this particular part here, and then we're going to talk about it. Then we're going to pretty much call it an evening. But I just want to get your point of view. And this is what I'm talking about, Logic, when I talk about people trying to gaslight us for just being proud,
Out of it, but you don't know if that particular person saw it somewhere else from another culture. So that's why I'm bothered that it ended up getting into a racial thing, and I could understand why we had to, yourself, others had to debunk what they were saying to protect the race that was there quite a bit in developing the dance breaking, let's say, the fundamental basics, which were which was a Puerto Rican gentleman, a man, not a whole thing.
Right.
So
right,
and they pretty much took over that style of dancing and created and elevated, and then the Russians, Czech Republic, China got involved, Japanese. Now they're doing things that ourselves who came from the development of the dance, it's like it's on such a different level, but we could still trace it back to the fundamental basic. So I get what you're saying. I do get it, but I'm also cool with calling him the first generation B-boy. Hopefully we could change it, because Doug was very kind and honest in his explanation.
right.
All right, let me let me just stop that. Well, basically, he was basically saying that I kind of cut through it, but basically what he was saying is that he hates that it's a black thing because we're standing up and saying we're gatekeeping the culture right now. And he doesn't like that as a black thing. He's basically saying you can't credit one person from the black community for creating the dance, and therefore it's not necessarily a black thing. I ran into a guy talking about jazz. He actually said jazz is not a black art form because not all black Americans play jazz or practice jazz. Now, how idiotic is that? So for so many people who are anti-black American, you have to be, in order to call something black American, everybody in the culture has to embrace it. If a good number of black people doesn't embrace it, they'll claim it's not black American culture. But we all know good and well, jazz is black American culture. Just like all the musical genres are black American culture. So this is what I'm talking about, how people try to gaslight us and try to take from us. And this is why, Logic, you may not think it's a big thing. That's okay. But I'm about gatekeeping what we create and not allowing people to gaslight our community and just giving it up for everybody. And you can fight your battles on the battlefield that you choose to fight. And I have no problem with you doing that. But I'm going to fight my battles on the battlefield that I choose to fight. There's not one way to fight a battle. And you seem to think that there's one way, and it's your way is the way we should go. I'm saying your way possibly is a good way too, but it ain't my way. You do you, brother. I'm going to do me. You see what I'm saying? This is how it works. And we could all arrive at the same place, hopefully. But like I said, you have your strengths. I have my strength. We all have our individual strength. But it's wrong for you, personally, this is how I feel. It's wrong for you to tell us that we're wrong for gatekeeping, when we know that there are so many other people out here trying to rip us off and try to take what we created. And so I'm going to stand in the gap and make sure that doesn't happen. So you can have, if you want to say something, then I'm going to, pretty much out.
Yeah, I like to
Go
say
ahead,
something, brother. I like to say something. First of all, let's be real. They're trying to separate blacks from the Bronx from the rest of the blacks all throughout North America. Okay, we are all family. Most of our roots are in the South. These people, they never had it so good, so they got to separate those blacks in the Bronx. And those black brothers and sisters up in the Bronx need to speak up more, and correct that. But if you notice, brothers like Grandmaster Cash, he always stand on, that came from Black American culture. First of all, let's be real, y'all. And everybody know that if there's a culture, there's a language that go with that culture. With every music genre that we had from the early 1900s, we had a dance to it and we had a language to it. Where is their language to this stuff? They don't have the language. We have the language. We have the vernacular. But they want to say street, but like Brother True Savior found out, okay, street, but it goes right back into Black American vernacular. They want to avoid that because simple fact is this. That is what you consider a culture vulture. People say, well, culture vulture is not something that that's very negative. A culture vulture is somebody who picked up somebody else's culture, and then you don't want to acknowledge that you picked up somebody else's slang, but you want to sit here and talk about, but the bottom line is we wasn't speaking Spanish back then, and we wasn't speaking patois back then. They'll say, well, it's English. The reason why they keep avoiding it, like you said, brother, you say because they want to avoid us. But you can't have hip hop without us. Bottom line, and let's be real about this. Language is culture, culture is language. That's how you know who culture they're expressing, and that's our culture. And they sit up there and play games with this, but they can't get around that. And let me say something before I go too. Another thing. They speak on, I want y'all to understand this. They speak on these break beats, the Incredible Bungle Rock, Bungle Band, Apache, Jimmy Castro, Just Begun, Ralph McDonald, Jam on the Groove, Baby Huey. Do y'all know none of these bands had Puerto Ricans in it creating it? They're not co-creators of that either. So they can't make claim. Okay? So they want to play this instrument and we had this and that. No. What happened to your black Cubans? What happened to your black Puerto Rican? Where are they at? All we see right now is people that of lighter skin of that species, and for some reason, the dark skinned ones are knocked off for some reason. But like I said, next time they mention these break beats, ask them, are they co-creators? They are not co-creators, y'all. They are not co-creators of none of these break beats. So I don't care people talking about influence. The world influence each other. Culture does that, but they are not co-creators of none of these break beats, y'all. And most of that come that incredible Bang Wild, that Apache, that's funk.
Right.
Jimmy Cal, he dealt with funk, R&B, you know what I'm saying, and soul. Ralph McDowell, he dealt with Jam On It, that's funk and jazz. Baby U deal with funk and soul. What I'm saying to it all come back to us. So don't let them get away with, well, the Latin breakdown. Well, Mario Bozo said, he said there's no Latin. He said he's Afro-Cuban. And later on, they changed it off to Latin jazz. It never existed at one time. I land my plane there. Peace.
All right. You got Logic or Sheffrin, you want to say something? Because we're going to close out. So if you want to make a closing statement, you can make a closing statement.
Oh, yeah. So, I've seen this sister that you was playing her video before speaking on African Americans. She's an East African sister. So, I mean, like I said in the beginning, man, I think is an issue when any of us show our uniqueness or separate ourselves, right? We have an aversion when they do it, and they have an aversion when we do it, right? I think by us being the most popular of right now of the African diaspora, I think that, you know, I think that our sentiments is heard louder than all other African groups at this moment. So I think we're going to be the targets right now because we have the biggest voice right now. You dig what I'm saying? So
we always have.
Yeah. But I think that's the issue why all other black people attach with us and attack us, because we're the loudest right now. I'm not saying we're the most important. I'm not saying we're the best historically. I'm saying right now, right? Far as wise where America sits in the world right now, by black Americans being a part of the America, we are the loudest and the most seen right now. So, you know what I mean? Every African group gets a sort of self-worth by proxy of us. You dig what I'm saying? And here's another thing before I close out. And Malik, I want you to come on my show if you can, because I really want to continue that conversation that we was having. I put the link. I put the link to my channel in the back chat for you. But I think at some point, I think African Americans, FBAs, or whatever we call ourselves at this moment, I think we're going to have to step up for the Latin community that's going through what they're going through. At first, I was kind of like, man, that's what they get. But now watching it, I'm like, man, yeah, like African Americans, that's kind of our job, right? I know we hate it, right? I know we hate it, but we big brother, even though they act out of line, but we big brother, right? So yeah, by us being the historical, you know what I mean, marginalized community in the United States, we hold that banner. We gotta actually help those other people. You dig what I'm saying? Even though they don't help us when we need it. Yeah, I mean, we gotta be big brother in that situation. I think we gotta come to their aid eventually. But yeah, that's the good show. Good shit.
Oh, check this out. Before I let Logic say what he's gonna say, I'm gonna give someone an opportunity. Anybody who's out there who believes that FBAs are a black supremacist group, I want you to come up briefly and explain to me what's the basis for that belief. I put the link in the chat, so I'm just going to allow a few more minutes because I really want to investigate why this attack, because I hear it. We're spouting white supremacist point of view. We're saying we're better than everybody and all that kind of stuff. So I really want to hear from somebody who really believes that. Come up and explain to me why you think we're black supremacists. And I'm gonna give you a few minutes.
I can explain that.
No, I don't want you to explain it. I don't want you to explain it.
I can explain it, but I'm gonna go ahead and make my closing statement.
Because I want individuals who are part of either the Caribbean or the Latin area, but nationality or ethnic group. I want them to explain.
Okay, I got you.
It's better coming from them because they're the ones who really view us that way. So go ahead, Roger. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when we're talking about hey, I kind of like, man, it's been so long. I've been kind of like lost my spot a little bit, but it's more to do with my message actually is really positive, and what it is it's really an exercise of self-love for me, right? Because on one hand, truth savior, and what he's saying does make sense, and I think that I just think that there's possibly a blind spot once you put so much emphasis on exactly preserving our past, right? I don't think that in 2025, preserving African Americans reclaiming their past, which would mean that they're not currently in control of it, but reclaiming their past, it would be more beneficial than them being proactive for their new adversities in the future, right? Like there's no surprise by saying that our skin color gives us adversities here in America, even in 2025. That's not a surprise. I don't think that the going through the list is even necessary, right? Because we experience it, like we actually live that. So, but I think will be more beneficial rather than me have a complete working knowledge of the people who came before me and dealt with those adversities in this particular way, rather than just have a preparation from all angles on XYZ said problem and be prepared for upcoming adversities in the future. Right now, your past can help you do that, but you're gonna need your past plus in order to really be prepared. That's my message. I'm not really trying to like say it to be hurtful, but that's why that's the small part of where we kind of disagree. But I think at the bottom of it is, this is what you see as being what's more sacred and valuable, and this is what I'll see as being a little bit more valuable.
Again, it's not about what's right or wrong. Okay, there's many avenues to attaining a certain going to the finish line or getting to the finish line. And I would never say your pathway is wrong. If your pathway is designed to get us to a better place, God bless you. You see what I'm saying? But there are people that need to think about this country and what they're trying to do with Black American history. If they didn't think it was important, why would they be going to this extent to get rid of it? Yeah, we could learn it for ourselves. Yeah, that's the thing that we say. Oh, well, it's up to your parents or your grandparents to teach you the history. Yeah, we could do that. But if everyone doesn't understand, our history is American history. It's just not just Black history. It's American history. And the idea that you have an administration today that feels as though that's not important, that's not worth learning about, and it's American history, that's a problem. So that tells you right there, it's important. It's important.
But I get a different message from that story, right? I get that. See, like that's a problem that we see today, that they're trying to remove our history from textbooks today. But that problem did not start today, right? That problem started years and years and years ago when we failed to begin to produce more politically inclined people who we could put in position to not allow that type of stuff to even like be considered up there, right? Like that's like there's like how will we look at that to prepare for ourselves for next time, right? And the only way I can see it is that you got to have enough people at the table to where it can't be like stacked up against you quite like that.
Well,
And
okay. Let me give you.
if we had done that then, we may not be dealing with this now. So how do we stop the next one? And,
Okay.
because the here hold on. Last thing I'm gonna say is that the big issue is that kind of stuff isn't going away. You can't ignore it. You can't like so this time it's taking the history out of the textbooks. Next time, what? Who knows? It could be a citizenship for all we know. Like, so how do you have enough people up there to actually stop that kind of stuff? There's some kind of way you got to be participating and get educated in whatever that formalities and jargon that you would need to know to actually deal with all of that. But
well, let me give you a good example in terms of politics. Now, for example, they were in California. They were trying to pass the reparation bill. Now, you had enough politicians, black politicians, to pass it, but for some reason, a white people or let's say a white governor said, "Listen," he probably said, "Listen, you want a career after this? Let's kill it." So that whole idea of even having black people in position, there are forces out here that is trying to keep us from getting ahead, regardless if we're do everything right, go to school, get the degrees. There's still forces that's going to try to prevent us from getting what we deserve. Now, you just said, get into position, get into politics, right the wrongs of the past. Here we try to do it. We basically sabotage our own bill. You have a governor in Maryland, black governor in Maryland, had a proposal for reparations, just a study. He declined to do anything about it. So the point I'm making is we could do things if we have the willingness and the desire to do it. For some reason, this weight question is so strong amongst these people, amongst our politicians, amongst our greatest people in politics, that they can't move. So, like I said, what you're saying is cool. I get it, but there are more than one way to skin a cat. And history is so important. And like I said, again, I'm gonna close with this. I can't imagine the Jewish community saying, "Well, our history is really not that important." They talk about their history all the time. Oh, we were crucified for thousands of years. They the most. If you ask me, they cry all the time being victims, but no one really dogs them out. Why? Because they're doing good financially, but they cry all the time and talk about their history. So I think you're wrong to say we should really not celebrate or talk about it or suggest that it should be a part of American history. It is American history, and the fact that they're getting rid of it proves that it's important. They don't want anyone to know that we're a great people, and that's what I believe is the fact or the truth of the matter. So now let me just say this. I'm getting ready to close. I'm waiting. I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes. Anybody from the Caribbean side or the Latin side that says that FBAs are black supremacists, I want you to come up and explain to me why that's so. I have put the link in the chat. Hit the link, come up, let me know. You got about 2 minutes. If you don't, I'm going to move on and close out for the day. But again, I appreciate Sheffrin. I appreciate you coming up. And if you ever want me to come up on your channel, please invite me.
Okay, appreciate that.
And because I believe me and you are more or less close in our ideology.
Facts.
I see a lot when I listen to you. I hear a lot of what I can see that we're pretty much will get along in terms of
right
what we talk about.
It's like an echo.
Now hold on. Now you had mentioned the governor of Maryland, Westmore,
right?
And he blocked a bill that would do an inquiry into reparations. Right now, I'm from Maryland. Right, I'm here in Maryland. I'm from Baltimore. Right, Now, Westmore, yes, he did that. But the funny thing about Westmore, right? He's actually of Caribbean descent.
Okay. That may count for
it. It's crazy, right? I didn't want to put that jacket on the brother, right?
Yeah.
I think it's more political, but the fact that he's of Caribbean ancestry, right? I think he's a second generation. His parents come from the Caribbean. So he might, I don't know. I don't want to put that on as the reason why he did it, but that's crazy, right? That's crazy, right?
Okay.
And we was back in Westmore.
But you say, can I say something before you go?
No, check this out. Guess who's here? The good old Dr. Cologne. So I need you to say. All right. So go ahead, Malik, and then I'll let the good old doc say what he has to say.
Say this: if anybody knows that the United States is a federal corporation, pretend to be government, everybody that get in those positions, they have to play by the games, by the rules. So yes, they go in there with good intentions, but let's be real. Majority of them don't really look out for their people. You notice that whatever people going through, I'm gonna say it like this: Martin Luther King, in his last speeches, he said he believed he bringing his people into a burning house, and that's what happened to us. We went into a burning house and we became subject. If y'all notice what the 14th Amendment is, the 14th Amendment is all persons born or naturalized in the United States is subject to their jurisdiction. So what it is y'all, here's the catch: we under a contract, and that contract, your birth certificate, look it up. I'm gonna land my plane.
Okay. All right, Doc. You got a few minutes. Go ahead and tell me, why are we black supremacists?
Well, I wouldn't say you're black supremacist. I don't know why.
Well, that's what's going on out there. We're a hate group, right?
Listen, when you got people who associate with FBA and they're constantly making these comments, Latinos, conquistadors, colonizers, tethers, immigrants, you don't find that insulting? You think that's okay?
Well, I think that most of those terms are appropriate in context, certainly. In context, certainly, they're appropriate in context. And when I'm saying in context, if you're associating yourself with a black genre of music, yes, you're a tether, or black genre of culture. Yes, you're a tether. And when you use the African card to make yourself approximate to Black American culture, then that is being a tether. That's not racist. That's just what do you call it? A observation. That's what that is. Being let me tell you what a conquistador is. And since you brought up that word, when you say that TBB is the first foundational crew, when you say that, what you're saying is because they named themselves that, then they're the first. We know for a fact, and you know this too. You may not want to come out and say it, but that's okay. That's okay. We know that they were breaking and on the floor. I know that's your priority. In 74, we do know that for a fact, and you know that for a fact.
I've never denied that.
And brothers were doing that way before TBB was. Now we could have a separate show on that at some other point, but that's what I mean by conquistador. I just want to break down why these terms are appropriate in context. Okay, it's not racial. It's all about context. So now I never use the word Latino. However, now if someone wants to use Latino, I don't know if that's really racist necessarily, but I mean, it's not calling you the S word. Many of you, your main dude, you've used the N word a lot of time. That's why I blocked him. So there are certain degrees in terms of what is offensive. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't go as far as the words that you use, and I would not say that they're naturally offensive. They're appropriate in context, and I just gave you a few examples why I think they're appropriate in context.
Give me a context.
I just gave you one. in terms of the B-boys, in terms of conquistador. I gave you that's a context.
That's not a context. You
What?
talk
Okay,
about.
you could disagree with that, but I'm telling you that's what I feel is a context. Okay.
All right. So I'm here talking to you. So nowhere have I ever said that there was no breakers in 74. Breaking begins in late 74 into 75. Number one. Number two, if you know anything about the history of the Zulu Kings,
I'm not talking about the Zulu Kings. And I don't want to
that's
get
who
into
you're
that. I don't want to
alluding
get
to.
into that. I
Bro,
really.
that's
This is
who
not what
you're alluding to.
No. But hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying, man.
You
Hear what
think
I'm
you're
saying.
talking to somebody who
Hear
don't know where
hear
you're
what I'm
going,
saying.
dude.
Listen to. I want to stay on topic. I asked you. You get ready to go into a whole different area. I asked you, why are we called black supremacists? Now that's what I want to talk about.
I just told you.
And okay, now I explained to you in context what some of the words mean. I've used the word colonizer before. I've used the word conquistador before, but I don't call those. And I would explain to you, and I explain to you in my videos the context in which I'm using that. Now, if you're offended by that, that's on you, but that's not racist. You're taking a position that I find has a colonization mindset, and that's what I'm calling attention to. That's it. So,
bro, when you deal with history, especially the history of hip hop culture, there's no context to calling people out of their name like that. There's no context to that.
I'm not. No one's
Let's
calling
talk
you out your
about the
name.
history, or don't talk about the history.
No
But
one's calling out your name. No one calling out
I'm
your
not
name.
talking about you. I'm just saying you asked me why. I gave you a reason. This is why certain people within the community feel that way, including Caribbeans, because of this terminology that has nothing to do with hip hop history. Nothing.
That's what you believe. It has everything. It has everything to do with the gatekeeping of what we feel is our culture, and we feel that certain things that you and others are doing is causing a problem, and we're just bringing attention to it. As simple as that.
Understood.
As simple as that.
You asked me a question, I gave you my answer, and that's how I feel, and that's why we feel the way we feel. But don't bring the hip hop conversation into it if you're not ready to discuss it.
No, I told you. You asked me for. I want to provide a context, so I had to give you an example. Other words, I couldn't give you an example without providing the context. Okay, but I don't want to get into that. But the point I'm just simply making is now you accuse me of being anti-Latino, and I don't use language like that. You know that. But you made several videos about me being anti-Latino. What did I ever say that was derogatory? So you explain to me, how am I anti-Latino?
Subjects or topics or wording like those people.
No, I don't say those
Puerto
people.
Ricans.
No.
Those Latinos.
Well, you find me a video that I basically said that. I always say some. I always say some. I would say some in the context, and I never generalize. And I'm careful. I'm careful. Cologne, I'm careful. I am careful in my wording, and I will say some, not all. And I challenge you, and like my videos are still up. My videos are still up. So
I know they
challenge
are.
you. I challenge you to find a video where I said all. Find that video.
You've never used the word all. You're not listening to me.
Even if I said those,
I'm saying to you,
even if I said those,
you just said some. Who are the? You talk. I know who you're talking about.
Listen,
you're talking about me.
I can't remember what context
That doesn't matter. That's not
what
important.
I'm saying is, all I'm explaining to you, Cologne, is that I never generalize any group. And if because I could tell this, because when you talk about people saying messed up stuff, you never mention my name saying that, because I don't do that. So I'm careful in my language, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just trying to defend this culture. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And sometimes that's offensive, and I think that's offensive to you. You feel that because I'm not willing to accept everything that you're saying, that I'm anti-Latino. That's what I'm getting from you, because I don't attack Latinos.
Listen, when it comes to the conversation of hip hop, you're very clear about how you feel, and how you feel about me is extremely clear.
Well, I can say that you made many comments about me. You call me a clown, you sun me, and all that kind of. Have I ever disrespected you like that?
Oh, absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
On a video.
Bro, you do it all again.
No, I don't do that. I don't do that. Find me a video where I clowned you. Find me a video. Okay.
These are subliminal
there we go.
ways that you're doing it.
Subliminal. So that's your feelings. You get into your feelings. I'm saying what you say on your videos. You called me a clown. You called me all kind of bad language. I never once did that to you. Not one time. And I dare you, like I said, my videos are all up. Find me a video where I clowned you.
Bro, that's not even the topic.
Well, you brought it up.
To the topic.
You brought it up.
I'm telling you what we're talking about.
Oh my God.
So
I'm asking you to find.
Let's talk about the Mr. Freeze video that you used.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a perfect example. You just used a Mr. Freeze video. Okay. Not even really understanding who he is.
How do you know I don't know who he is?
Because of the things you said about him.
What did I say about him? That was not right.
He's a late 70s B-boy. Mr. Freeze or Frosty Freeze. You don't even know who you're talking about.
I know who I'm talking about. I know who I'm talking about. So what's
His
your
name
point?
is Mr. Freeze. It's not Frosty Freeze.
What is your point?
My point is that you use these examples.
Oh, come on, man. What did you just do to me?
What is your point?
You use these examples, and you got everybody else fooled, thinking you know what you're talking about.
Cologne,
but
listen,
you have the slightest idea what you took the context.
Make your point. You got 20 seconds to land your freaking plane, because now you want to make this about you. You want to make this about you.
He's out.
All right?
There we go.
You want to make this about you. So I want you to land your plane. Land your plane right now.
The plane's landed, bro. I already showed. Those terms are why people feel FBA is anti-Latino, they're a hate group. That's why, because of the terms that are in your chat right now. That you're not checking the chat. You got people saying all kinds of crazy stuff in the chat.
Like what?
Go look at it.
No, you tell me. Give me an example. What they say.
I'm not looking at the chat.
Well, you just say look at the chat.
I can't.
Well, okay, whatever.
I can't look at it. I'm on.
Well, you know what? Judge me by me. Don't judge me by the chat. Judge me by me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Okay. I don't listen. I do not say anything derogatory about you or anybody else. I pride myself on that. You know what I'm saying? So you judge me on me. Now, like I said, you're the one with sunning me. You was the one clowning me. So you need to check yourself. How about you? How about you check yourself?
I don't have a problem clowning
you.
Are you going
to apologize for clowning me? Are you or not?
Give me an example when I clown.
Oh, stop it! Forget it, clone. Forget it. I'm done. All right, bro. You're out.
Give me an example.
You're out. Let's go. All right. Anybody else want to say something? I ain't got no time for that fool. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Man. Good. Like I said, good show, man.
All right.
Definitely. Malik, I'm gonna do a show at 9:00. I definitely want you to come up because I want to have that conversation. Logic, you know what it is. I mean, God damn, that was crazy. That was crazy. Truth, I called you Cologne.
Set it up, yo. Set it up, man.
Y'all definitely come through. I never had the Native American conversation. I always avoided it. Because I felt as though I was like, that don't even make sense. But that little back and forth I just had with Malik made me.
Oh yeah. Well, listen. Me and Malik, we cool. You know, we talk all the time.
Right.
And he gets on me about the indigenous thing, and we, you know, it's funny. We get along so well. Even
until that come up.
No. Yeah. Even when that comes up, we could go back and forth. But we brothers, you know what I'm saying? It is cool. You know, Malik is good people. And so we have those discussions all the time. He's gonna try to convince me, and it's all love, you know. So.
Right. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm about to set that up.
Yep. All right, G. All right, Truth, man. It's always a pleasure, man.
Okay, thanks for coming by. Thanks for coming by.
Appreciate you too, bro.
Okay.
Hey, brother, True Savior.
What's up?
Yes. You just speaking to Cologne, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Peace out to Cologne.
You didn't hear?
Peace.
No, I got rid of him. He was tripping.
I know.
All right, brother. So I'm out, people. Thanks guys. Thanks for the chat. I appreciate the traffic on the chat. I couldn't get to all the comments, so I appreciate you stopping in and supporting the show. We're going to do more live streams and talk about other interesting topics. So again, thanks again. And until the next time, peace.